let's begin with the weekend, I think. How much does that result and the fact that you're above the dotted line and you're out of the relegation zone as a result help the confidence? Because I think it's just human nature, isn't it, that confidence does get affected when you're not winning games?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in that relegation zone for the last few weeks now. It's not a nice place to be. We understand the importance to get out of it. The pressure you feel when you're in it is a little, obviously, more than when you're above that line. So we were thankful. We knew that after, because Morecambe played early, they got a point against Bolton. We knew that if we won, we'd go above them and move out of that relegation zone. So we were very thankful at the end of the game to have got the 3 points and move out of those relegation spots.
You've found ways to win in a couple of games recently. It's 2 wins from the last 3 league games. Obviously, the Bolton Trophy semi-final aside. Is that what you need to do at this point? We can talk all we like about ethos and style of play and what you want to do at the start of a season. At this point, is it just win, however you do it?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, I mean, if we played terrible for the last, I don't know how many games we've got, 14 games, but we were to win 10 of them, you snap your hand off straight away. It's all about winning, and I think you see that with this time of the year when teams they often change their style of play and they go a little bit more direct, play a little more percentage football. The pitches have had a tough winter and there's no growth in the grass, so the game's a bit more difficult to play. And people just resort to it's human nature just to do whatever it takes to win games, and that's what it's all about now, just getting as many points as we can between now and the end of the season.
We've spoken a few times about the makeup of the squad and the fact that there are lads sort of up to 23, 24, and then there's probably just Harvey Rodgers, and then there's yourself and Sean Worley and Sean McConville who are in your 30s. How impressed are you with those younger players and how they are able to deal, or have been able to deal in recent weeks, with this pressure that you're under?
Yeah, I mean, they've been fantastic. Like you said, there's not too many elderly players in the team. After you mentioned me, the 2 Sean. I think that's testament to the benefit of having the 23s the last couple of years. What Jed and Andy have done with them lads, the amount of games they play, so they're ready whenever they're called upon to come into the first team, and they've been needed this year. I mean, it's no secret we've had quite a few injuries, we've had suspensions recently as well, and lads have been called upon, and the lads who've come in, as you mentioned, I think we're unbeaten in 3 now in the league, 2 wins and a draw. They've done really well when they've been asked to come in and do a job.
You've drawn your last few away games, kept it very tight, keeping clean sheets in the process, perhaps at the expense of scoring goals at the other end. How big a step up is it to go to Ipswich compared to going and keeping a clean sheet at Burton or Cheltenham, for example?
I mean, it'll be a difficult game. We saw that I think they beat Burton 4-0 at the weekend, and Burton we found Burton difficult to break down. So obviously they found a way to get through them multiple times and score lots of goals. They're pushing for that automatic promotion. I think there'll be about 25,000 at the game, so it's a difficult atmosphere to play in. They're obviously high in confidence. I'd expect them to try and start the game very fast, and we need to find a way to nullify them as best as we can. We've managed to do it in the last few away games, as you said. So, we'll train later this evening, try and come up with some kind of game plan to make it as difficult as we can for Ipswich.
Just practicalities wise, how much of a challenge is Ipswich away on a Tuesday and then Charlton away on the Saturday? I know you've got a young family, for example. You'll be spending a lot of time away from home this week.
I might sleep a little bit better though because of that, in the hotels. But it's just the way the games have fallen. Obviously, we meant to play Ipswich at a weekend. I think we were both in the FA Cup. I think it was the round when we played Leeds, so it was going to get moved to a Tuesday. It's a long journey, but we've got quite a few of them left to go. We've got Exeter away, Portsmouth away, Charlton, as you say, this weekend, and it's just something that we need to deal with. You can't make any excuses. You need to play these teams. You need to travel to these big grounds, and you need to be able to stand up to them. And if we're to stay in the division, we need to produce performances.
Away form generally this season has been better than it was last season. Conversely, I think the home form, maybe until winning a couple back-to-back recently, has not been as good. How important is it that you keep up that away form and don't put loads of pressure on your home games?
Well, it is. I mean, when you look at, everyone's looking at the run-in that we've got, and you think, well, we need 5 wins, we need 6 wins, might need 7 wins, and automatically you look to your home games and think, right, we could get one there, we could get one there. But if you were to pick up points away from home, the odd draw, a win, it does take pressure off your home games. There's 14 games to go. It doesn't matter if we were to win 6 away games and none at home, I think that'd be enough for us to stay up. We just need 6, probably at least 6 wins, and whether we get them home or away, it doesn't matter.
And the manager has a real bee in his bonnet about games in hand not equaling 3 points. And people keep saying, oh, you've got 2 games in hand, that's 6 more points. How much is it just necessary to look at the bigger picture? How much is it necessary to know how everybody else is doing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think but when you're down the bottom, you're down the bottom for a reason. That's because you don't win too many games. So if you've got games in hand, your points per game will tell you that you're not expected to win those. So yeah, and I know the manager's gone on about how it can affect your goal difference as well, games in hand, especially when you're down the bottom. So it's all about points on the board now. Like I said, I keep going back to, we've got 14 games left. We just need to get as many points on the board as we can between now and the first weekend in May.
And purely being pragmatically, and I can probably say this because I talk about it for a living and you play it for a living, is it important, with goal difference in mind, goal difference kept teams up last season in this division, for example, that if you do not find your level and you are losing a game, that doesn't turn into getting walloped?
Absolutely. We spoke about it when we played Barnsley away and we were 3 down at half-time. And we put on a better performance second half, and we scored a penalty in the last minute to make it 3-1, and it didn't really mean anything at the time, but come the end of the season, that could be massive. So it's important that whatever the score is, I mean, you saw it at Anfield yesterday, you can never allow that to happen on a football pitch. Everybody needs to stand up, be counted, no matter what the score is, how you're playing, where you are in the division. You play for 90 minutes and you give your best for all those 90 minutes.
And I suppose if that can happen to Manchester United with the form that they've been in, sort of trying to chase a game and get back into it, it can happen to anyone, can't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, you've got to, it's a fine line. Obviously, when you fall behind, it's difficult to play in games because you've got to come out a little bit more and chase the game. But you've got to be wary that, games can get away from you very quickly. And, against top divisions in this team, you're talking about Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth. They're very good, and they will exploit you if you lose your discipline, if you lose your shape. And we need to guard against that.